Welcome back, everybody, to WWTA News. Thank you for returning for another episode. Plenty of news to get through, but before we start, hey, feel free to hit that like button. Also, feel free, if you're returning, to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, if you got any family, friends, or loved ones who you think could use any of this information, feel free again to share the link. Now, let's get into the exciting news, because I'm sure there's plenty of news. First article, Brazil's largest digital lender, Nubank, to roll out its own token to 70 million users in 2023. Nubank, the largest Brazilian digital bank by market value, plans to release its own token next year in Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico, the company announced Wednesday. The token, called NuCoin and built on Polygon, will be available for Nubank's 70 million users in the first half of 2023. The company said in a statement, adding that it will be distributed freely and used to offer discounts and perks. So, yes, Polygon Network, second layer of Ethereum, making some major moves by working with Brazil. So, wow, this is interesting indeed, what's coming in 2023. We've got another article. It says Israel moves to avail government bonds via blockchain. You know how I feel about assets being brought on the blockchain. Potential value increases based on that, right? This article says, as per a report from October 19th, the Israel Ministry of Finance has partnered with VMware and Fireblocks to perform a proof of concept for issuing government bonds through blockchain to reduce cost and shorten the duration of issuance and clearing of government bonds, right? So, based on everything that I've learned, I guess we're only talking about government debt bonds or secured bonds, right? Or contracts. In addition, the project aims to expand transparency, streamline processes, and mitigate risk. And so I've been saying, when you start onboarding different types of assets, obviously you're going to need the SEC and the CFTC. You're going to need these players involved, because you're now coming from an old system, which it's its own rules and regulations, and then onboarding them to a new system. So that's what I think all the fuss is about with the SEC and the CFTC here in the United States. Especially the big fuss is that because they're going to onboard all the old ways of doing things to the new way of doing it. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about secured bonds, when we talk about the stock market and bringing those assets, all these things are assets. Contracts are assets, and a contract that has, whether it be a good, service, or a monetary, right, something in that contract, it still is an asset and a commodity, and it still needs regulation attached to it. So just looking at this one, I'm excited, as you all should be, to see that they're going to onboard more different types of assets into this system. But on top of that, that they're going to have to protect you with legislation, so on and so forth. So this is pretty interesting news that we should all keep our eyes on. Now, it says Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, also TASE CEO Eitan Ben Zaiv said, the financial markets are undergoing drastic transformations in recent years, with the introduction of revolutionary technologies that affect the manner in which customers worldwide operate and invest. Further, in response to the development, the Israeli Accountant General affirmed that the country is currently leading, along with TASE, in issuing state bonds using blockchain technologies. With this, Israel will be able to explore new possibilities for government debt issuance and management in a secure and controlled environment. And again, when we talk about bonds, I mean, if you go back in the past videos, I think you should have a full understanding, especially if you've been keeping up with the channel. But when we're talking about bonds, we're just talking about contracts. We're talking about debt notes or debt contracts. It's basically IOUs. for this monetary system and the system we've been using for the past however many years we've been using it. So that's all that's really being discussed. Nothing secretive, nothing major. We're just talking about debt bonds. The common debt bond, and most of us common folk would understand. It's like, for instance, we go get a loan for a car, we go get a loan for a house, we get a personal loan from a bank, we get a personal loan to get our kids through college. Yada yada yada. These are still bonds, whether it's still a bond or a contract. That's all we're talking about. Interesting indeed. All right, it goes on to say the new project is named Eden by the government as revealed. The account general established the project through the debt unit in the financing division and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. Worth noting, the proof of concept project will incorporate the digitization of a new series of bonds and its disbursement to the system participants. Before the bonds can be issued, leading international and local banks must participate in a live test. I mean, hey, look, if this isn't enough to get you excited, I want you to think about this. Let's just think about this for a minute, okay? Just bear with me for 1 minute. Let's think about this, okay? So if these debt contracts come onto the blockchain, they have a value, and their value comes onto the blockchain as well. So that means your total market cap for cryptocurrency then increases as these things get onboarded. Now, don't just think about a small little smidget. Think about how all business is going to be transacted. This is great to see the initiative and seeing these movements being made, because everybody else is going to follow the same track. You're going to see this in every country and every nation. So expect to see a massive growth in the total market cap as well as the value of the currencies that you may be holding right now. Awesome news indeed. Next article, Fed Vice Chair warns banks about crypto liquidity and urges stablecoin regulation. I wonder why. Federal Reserve Bank Vice Chair Michael Barr said that banks accepting crypto deposits should be aware of their increased liquidity risks in an October 12th speech published on October 17th. Barr stated that there are heightened liquidity risks when traditional banks do business with crypto firms. As such, banks could be exposed to liability from money laundering and fraud. Well, I mean, you got that with the dollar or any other currency you use anyway. So what's the only difference is, if you think you're going to launder money and you're going to cheat the system with crypto, you're fooled, because these things are digitized records being kept of doors that money goes in and out of. So don't be believing this scare tactic mumbo jumbo. You're tracked. You're literally tracked. If anything you're doing with money on the blockchain, it's no. You're tracked. Everything. It's open door, right? Bing, 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 bing. It's tracking all that stuff. So it's not like somebody's watching you to see everything you're doing. That's not what I mean by tracking. What I'm saying is there's a public record. That's what the public ledgers are all about. It keeps a public record. So if they ever want to know if the money, let's say they find money tied into some money laundering via one account. So, okay, they find it and they have to do some legal things, but they have to track it down. Guess what they can then do? They can track every door that money, those cryptos went in and out of. So they can follow that, and through KYC, if you're implicated, or they can investigate to see, what your part was with this money being laundered. And so, and obviously, once they get the KYC information, they'll clearly be able to see, based on that information, if you could even possibly be involved in some nefarious activities, such as, you know what I'm saying? So, before we get scared and say, oh my God, they're doing all this so they can know everything we do, we eat, sleep, and breathe, and all of it. Like, y'all voluntarily give that information up on your devices. You do that with your phone. You do that all the time. A lot of you people put that stuff on your wrist to track your heartbeat and everything else. You got the ones to track your diabetes and stuff like that. So you got all these devices that you're using 24/7 that go to third parties, and that information is recorded. So it's not like this is the end all be all. This is like another part. It's only just the financial part of it. So it's like, okay, all right. So let's continue. Stablecoin regulation. The Fed's vice chair also discussed stablecoins, which he claimed pose specific risks to the broader financial stability. According to Barr, the Fed has a particular interest in stablecoins linked to the dollar. He stated that since the central bank is the primary source of trust for money, stablecoin issuers borrow that trust, and the Fed wants a federal framework guarding the space. Over time, and I quote, over time, stablecoins could pose a risk to financial stability, and it is important to get the regulatory framework right before they do. Yes, important. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to need regulate. Not the end of the world. Don't be scared. It goes on to say, according to him, the recent fissures in these markets have shown that some crypto assets are rife with risk, including fraud, theft, manipulation, and even exposure to money laundering activities. Obviously, right? Obviously, no secret there, but as well as any other currency. He added that the recent market downturn showed how interconnected crypto assets are, adding that though banks were not directly affected, they run the risk of a bank run in cases of misrepresentation regarding deposit issuance by crypto asset companies, right? So, I mean, yeah, not really. So with cryptos, yes, these types of things can happen, except for when you're talking about stable coins and the fact that the stable coins are actually backed by a currency. So no matter if everybody sells off their stable coin, the stable coin will still have its value based on the amount of currency that backs it. Two different things, you know what I'm saying? So again, let's not have scare talk. Let's just look at this stuff logically. It goes on to say, he said the Fed was working with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, to highlight these issues to the banks. Barr says, this effort is not intended to discourage banks from providing access to banking products and services to businesses associated with crypto assets. Our work in this area is focused on ensuring risks are appropriately managed. And yes, that makes sense. Just manage the risk, not a big thing. Major story here, let's keep getting it. South Carolina house sold as a non-fungible token for $175,000. So look, when we talk NFTs, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about contracts, information, bonds, debts, notes. This is it. All right, this is it. Don't think about the little dumb ditty artwork. Look bigger. It's just information. A non-fungible token is just information in its simplest form. All right. A real estate investor purchased a 3-bedroom house in South Carolina via a non-fungible token marketplace over the weekend for $175,000 paid in USDC, which is a stable coin running on blockchain in the crypto environment. The purchase of 149 Cottage Lake Way, Columbia, was made possible via Roofstock on-chain, the Web3 subsidiary of real estate company Roofstock. The buyer, real estate investor Adam Slipakov, said he was able to buy a fully title-insured, rent-ready property with one click. Boom! Boom! Look, we talked about assets coming into this space. We talked about bonds, debts, stocks, all that stuff. Here's another aspect. We're talking about homes or real estate coming onto the blockchain. That's $175,000 on the blockchain via USDC. Okay. Somebody just got money for that home that they put, which was an asset that had a value, a real estate property that had a value. That had to come on the blockchain, valued at $175,000 for that purchase. So look at how this works. These things will bring the total market cap for crypto way high. We know there's at least $500 trillion in the space across the whole world. So just think about that. We ain't seen nothing yet. You're just seeing ways that these things can come into the market, the blockchain space. Get excited because there's more to come. It goes on to say this marks the membership token with a verified buyer flag, after which buyers can connect to an NFT marketplace and purchase a home on chain non-fungible token with a single click, resulting in sale and settlement. Ooh, right? The sale of the NFT results in a change in the ownership of the LLC and thus the underlying property, a company spokesperson said. So they already got mapped out how to get it done. Now it's just, does everybody want to use it? Here's a way to get it done. It's on this blockchain. Now everybody else can follow suit. Once the design is made, design is proven that it can be used and it works great, it can be adjusted and modified to make it even better. But once the blueprint is out there, guess what? There's the blueprint. Get your own designs up and running and get it done. So bam, look at that. We got more stuff coming into the space. Expect that market cap to go through the roof. I tell you, man, like 2025, I see some crazy numbers, like crazy numbers. But whew, let's get it. This marks the first non-fungible token sale by the company. The company's chief blockchain officer, Jeff Thompson, called the sale a major milestone in providing a simple way for buyers to purchase rental properties. Each rental property sold on this platform via NFT is owned by an individual single-purpose limited liability company registered in Wyoming, and the NFT sold is associated with the sole ownership of the LLC, the company told The Block. Get it done. They not playing around. It's assets on the blockchain. Look, man, this is just impressive. But let's keep getting it. Fidelity to roll out Ethereum trading for institutions next week. After starting with Bitcoin, 4.5 trillion asset manager Fidelity is now turning to Ethereum. Institutional Ethereum capabilities are coming to the Fidelity Digital Assets platform on October 28, 2022. Fidelity Digital Assets said in the email sent to its clients. The offering will only be available for Fidelity's existing institutional clients who already trade or custody Bitcoin, which the firm provided services for beginning in 2018. Institutions coming in this space. Look, man, is you know what November marks, right? But look at this, October 28th, more institutions, right? Fidelity currently provides 2 exchange-traded funds, ETFs, for metaverse and crypto payment-related companies. It also launched a Bitcoin spot ETF in Canada, but remains unable to do the same in the U.S. due to roadblocks from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Obviously, they're still working on legislation to protect people. We just saw in the earlier article. That's just how it's going down. Don't be scared. Don't be shocked. That is what it is. So check it. We're at the end of this video. That was the last little bit that we had to get through. I hope y'all made it through the whole video. I hope y'all are excited about the things that you just heard. I hope you also take the time to like the video. It's just hitting the like button, and I hope that if you returned, you're subscribing to the channel because you like the fact that I took the time to read these articles to you, so while you're driving down the road, you don't even have to look. You can just listen and be like, word, I needed to know that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I'll catch y'all in the next video.